Yo, what's going on? Welcome to Club 6. It's your boy, Six Colors, also known as Ja. I answered both. Anyway, first, I would like to start this video by saying I don't believe there is any longer debate on, who's the rookie of the year when it comes to this WNBA stuff, all right? The people's choice is C squared, and it's not just because we love her game and the impact that she's having on the league. Though, that can't be denied at this point. The fact is that when you start saying things like Caitlyn's now in the MVP conversation due to her stats and impact on the game for her team while she's on the floor, it just closes the door on a rookie of the year discussion. You can't be the MVP or in the MVP combo as a rookie and not be the rookie of the year. That just doesn't make any sense. Now, what I really want to talk about, though, aside from the amazing game Sunday, is the answer Monica McNutt had for the question, do you think that the Fever is a contender? Unfortunately, I couldn't find the video, which is very frustrating. I was actually lying down when the video played, and so it wasn't like on my phone or anything like that. But I just want to talk about it, right? It's obvious to me now that this question was essentially asking if Monica believed that the Fever could win a title this year, which, of course, if we were still talking about the team, from the beginning of the season, the answer was no, but we couldn't have predicted this. To be clear, it is not because we didn't think that Caitlyn was good enough. We already knew what she was capable of. Unfortunately, we just weren't sure how long it would take for the team chemistry to get where we're seeing it today. I remember saying before that I hated seeing Caitlin Clark's turnover stats in the beginning of the season because even though they were her turnovers, most of them weren't necessarily her fault. I don't know that I could blame her teammates outright because none of these ladies were truly prepared for the kinds of passes that she was going to dish out. All right, so it's hard to believe that Caitlyn can see you, especially when, you're all the way up the court with multiple defenders between the two of you. However, now that, they are clearly meshing well, and it also seems that whatever issues may have existed between Kelsey and Caitlyn have also been resolved. And to be clear, I'm not saying that they had any true, beef or anything like that. I'm just saying that it can't be denied that there had seemed to be some sort of power struggle on the court in the beginning. It's possible that Kelsey was getting a bit annoyed with the turnovers. While on the floor, it is impossible to see that those turnovers were not nearly as bad as they seemed. In fact, I believe that we were getting a glimpse of what this team could do if they started to mesh and actually catch some of those passes. Either way, it is clear now that we aren't seeing Kelsey waving Caitlyn off, Caitlyn frustrated at, that Kelsey has the ball, or Kelsey's dribbling the ball around for 20 seconds before giving it away to someone who doesn't get a good look or chucking up a bad look herself, right? We're not seeing that. Instead, we're seeing them passing the ball well, spreading the floor, playing really good defense, and knocking down open shots. Though they could still do better on the floor with layups, it's still looking really good. With that said, Monica saying that she didn't believe that the Fever could win this year with an absolute no is insane. So let's look at the games played between the Fever and these top teams, all right? Let's start with my favorite team, which is number one right now, the Liberty, all right? Their last game against New York was an 83-78 victory. Number two in the standings is the Suns, which we all know was an 84-80 victory very recently. Number three is the Lynx, which the Fever lost to 90-80, but beat before that 81-74. They'll get to play them again Friday at home, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to that game. Now, when you talk about Vegas, I think this is where it gets tough. They have not beat them, and neither of those games looked great. They lost their last matchup against them 88-69. Nice. And the one before that, 99-80. I believe that is the team the Fever absolutely doesn't want to face. But, of course, players like Caitlyn and Kelsey would probably say the exact opposite. There's something about going up against a team you haven't beat yet when you are such, fierce competitors the way that they are. Okay. Lastly, you have the Storm. Now, right now, I'm only talking about teams that are above them because, like I said, the question was whether or not Monica believed that the Fever could win a title this year or even be a contender in that discussion, right? Okay, so let's talk about the Storm. The Fever blew them out during their last game, 92-75. This is important because they lost pretty badly to them the last couple of games. It was 89-77 and 103-88. That said, if we revisit the discussion about the Aces, it's not impossible for them to beat them. However, I'd argue that would be the hardest postseason matchup for the Fever, with them having our league MVP balling out the way she's been doing this season so far. Anyway, my point is to say that if you look at all of that, you can't in good conscience have the audacity to say that the Fever is not a contender. In fact, I bet that teams are hoping they don't have to face them in the postseason. Let's be real here. Postseason play is very different from season play. As a former player myself, I can tell you that there is this fire you get when you know you are competing for a title. Sure, right now they're playing for a spot in the playoffs, but the whole vibe is different when you're fighting for a ring. Of course, that goes for all the players on all the teams. So by no means am I saying that the Fever will absolutely bring it home this year. What I will say is that it is terrible reporting to state that they don't even have a chance. Look at the facts before you open your mouth. I'm sure that there are maybe some facts that I have overlooked, with these wins against the top teams. Like, I'm sure there are some of those wins that came without key players on the opposing team. However, I'm using those wins to say the Fever is, I'm not saying that those wins mean the Fever is going to win, right? Like, I'm not saying that at all. I'm using those facts and the fact that this is a team that was on a 1-8 opening season record to simply say they have a shot if they keep playing like this. Only someone delusional or hating would claim otherwise. Before we go, I do want to give a large shout out to Dallas. All right. I do want to give a large shout out to Dallas. Those are some truly classy folks over there in their locker room. I mean, just seeing that availability, it was just great. I mean, obviously on the court, when they're fired up with passion, you may not see it, but that press availability was amazing. I loved hearing them give Caitlin her props while also being honest and expressing how annoying it is to play at home, with more Fever fans than your own, but being excited to see how the game is changing for the better. With that being said, let's actually go to that clip.
To be a part of it.
I'll add something to that too. When I was driving to the game today, obviously it's annoying because there were way too many Caitlin fans in our but it just kudos because it's amazing to see so many people in women's basketball jerseys. It's amazing to see the excitement and the joy that comes out of that. So although I feel like our Dallas fans could have done better, I had mixed feelings obviously seeing all the Caitlin jerseys in our home, but it's an amazing sign for women's basketball, and it's just great how far we've come, and it's just fun. Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing.
So yeah, I mean, come on. Anyway, I would also like to say that Arike is an absolute beast, and I love watching her cook. I obviously did not want the Fever to lose Sunday because I am a Fever fan, but had we lost the game, I would have felt the same way. I do now, with the respect that Arike deserves, man. She shot the lights out of that place, and she did it in such a natural but saucy way that the game was honestly out of reach for a while for the Fever. However, I have been saying this for a while to my wife, so I'm going to say it here as well. I believe that there is this thing called the fourth quarter fever that Indiana gets ever so often. It is amazing. It's like the opposite of what I said about the Knicks for some years, and I don't really want to talk about that. But anyway, yes, the fourth quarter fever is real, and when they get it, they can't be stopped. They just can't. They'll pull out heartbreaking wins like that every time if that fever is caught like it was again on Sunday. Anyway, that's my time. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the game and where the Fever are possibly headed this year. Do you think they are a contender, or do you think they don't have a shot at a title this year? Keep in mind that the rest of their games this season, with the exception of their last one against the Mystics, are at home. With home court advantage, anything is possible for the Fever. I know this is not baseball, and this is definitely a baseball term, but I've got to say it. Fever, let's play ball. How about peace?